So what's the Grape Explorer talking about today? So as you all know, I'm a very adventurous guy when it comes to the world of wine and the world of grapes. And a recent discovery is something that I really wanted to share here, and I'm very passionate about Italy, so I wanted to bring another Italian wine that I thought was really interesting to bring to the table here today. And this is a wine that's a Pinot Nero, and it's actually from the region of Oltreppo Pavese, and it comes from Cantina Castegio. And it's a really interesting property in the region of Lombardia. So if we want to, I'm going to show you right on the map, all the way up here, you have Milan, you have Lombardia, and right over here, Oltreppo Pavese, right here. And what's so interesting about this area? It's Pinot Noir area, or Pinot Nero. And, if you look at Italy as an entirety, we're talking thousands of grapes. And a lot of these grapes are very indigenous grapes, and they never really leave Italy and Sicily and Sardinia. But this is actually an interesting grape because, yes, it's called Pinot Nero, but it is actually, this clone of Pinot Noir. But I'm going to explain a little bit about this region and this history. As we point out on Hugh Johnson's map too, we can actually see this property or this area or this region of zone, which is called Oltreppo Pavese. It's a DOC in the Lombardy region, and it gained its distinction in 2010 to become a DOC. So it is such an area, it is such a great Pinot Nero, and of course it's Pinot Noir, but we're going to talk about that a little more in detail as we get into this wine. But Lombardia is a long history, and this is an interesting area because, of course, sometimes when you fly into Italy, you land in Milan, and you're quite close here because I used to always go to Verona, which is the trip all the way out here, Lake Garda and this area here. So we're not too far away from Verona and this area, but we're also very close to the Piedmont area. So this area, as you can see, this is Barbera d'Asti. That's how close we are to Piedmont area. So a lot of people might not know Lombardia as a region for wines, but this is probably one of the most notable wines that we could ever bring to the table here. And I really wanted to share this because I think it's a true discovery, because I've been talking about Pinot Noir growing in certain areas of the world and how difficult it is actually to grow. And as we know, California has Pinot Noir, and Oregon and Chile and Argentina are on the forefront of South America, and now New Zealand and even Australia is making Pinot Noir. And of course, we all know my great Burgundy wines are Pinot Noir, but a lot of people don't know that Italy actually makes Pinot Noir too. But it's disguised a little bit as to the grape. It's called Pinot Nero. Basically the same thing, because look at the color. It's got that typical Pinot, which we call that light kind of brickish looking red color. But this has all the characteristics that I would say of Pinot Noir, and maybe a little different because of the soil composition here, the terroir of this area. But yeah, this is as we get a little bit of what we call global warming, and we get some of these areas that are starting to get heat. Historically, this area is a very cool climate, but we're starting to also get warmer days up here, and it's kind of ripening these grapes a little bit more. But yeah, let's talk about this wine because I think it's really interesting. As you're zooming in to see this label, and so you can identify how to read an Italian label right here. This is the grape right here, Pinot Nero. This is actually the DOC right here, Oltreppo Pavese. It's a DOC clearly here, and then this is the name of the cantina right here, which is called Castegio. And we want to really talk about this because, as I identify smells, and I tell people that it's not easy to do, but you can easily start working at it if you're a novice and you don't really know how to smell wines. The first thing that I identified was the color. That's always the first thing in wine that we identify. But then we start to identify the smell. So right off the bat, I get cherries, just beautiful. They just rise up through the glass, but then we get some other notes here that I think is really interesting. And there's actually a fruit called a bergamot, which is kind of a cross between like orange So you can smell a little bit of this orange rind on here, which is kind of cool because a lot of Pinot Noir doesn't really have that, and a little lemon. So that it's like a cross between orange and lemon, but you get all that citrus kind of notes that just leap from the glass. And, you know, but you get all that spicy, again, I would say spice tones that are beautiful. But let's taste this wine. So you get good medium-bodied fruit. You get subtlety here. This is really subtle wines. This is not powerful. So let's just say hypothetically, if you're new to wine and you find Cabernet Sauvignon to be a little too powerful for you, and you know maybe even Merlot might be a little heavy, and even Chianti sometimes Sangiovese can be heavy. When you try these kind of wines, these are really good wines to drink because I think it's kind of a lighter style of wine. People today actually like to chill wines, and this would be the perfect wine to put in a chill. And you can see it's from Northwest Italy, which is a beautiful area. If anybody's ever gone to that area of Italy, you've got a lot of mountains that are close by because you're not far from the Italian Alps as well, so you can see where this is from. But anyway, you have to be, again, I talk adventurous because a lot of Americans, when they see this label, would not know that Pinot Nero is actually Pinot Noir. So you have to be kind of, your merchant would have to explain a little bit of this wine. But then if you told a person, I love Pinot Noir, and that's kind of my wine, you say, I can guarantee if a person asks you, have you ever had an Italian Pinot Noir? Chances are you're going to say, no, I've never had an Italian Pinot Noir. I didn't even know it exists. This is where it exists. And this is where the region and the zone comes from for this grape, because this is one of the true treasures of Italy that a lot of people really don't know. And guess what? This wine retails for under $15 a bottle. Yeah, $15 for this bottle of wine. Again, this is DOC. It is not a wine that's, that's like table wine. It's seriously made wine. And these vineyards are very large too. This Pinot Noir, they actually make sparkling wine, and they use Pinot Nero to make method champenoise or spumante, which is kind of a dry style of wines. We're going to get into those areas, but you've got sparkling wine region we talked about was Franciacorta, and they use a lot of Pinot Noir there, or Pinot Nero. But when you put this wine 100%, let it stand on its own, it becomes a very, very interesting wine. Again, this is a Grape Explorer. We're always trying to delve into areas where you might not be familiar with the grape, you might not be familiar with the region or the zone, but we're here to tell you there's some treasures to be found in Italy, especially when you taste these kind of wines and I love Italian wines just as much as you. Cheers.